Imagine you could see the future. Imagine you could see the pains, the struggles, the battles you have to fight just because you chose to move abroad. Imagine you could see the sleepless nights, the depressions, the loneliness that will hit you when you eventually make this move. Will you still want to make it? If you could see all of this, how will you prepare? My name is Kingsley, and in this video, I will be showing you how to prepare. Don't come abroad. Yes, you heard me. Do not come abroad. If you find yourself guilty of these 5 things I'm about to mention, take a moment, reflect. Do not make the move until you correct them. Now, let's dive in. One of the first things that you need to look within yourself for is instant gratification. If you're someone that has instant gratification, if you're someone that looks out for quick results in everything, you need to take a moment. You need to look within yourself to see that you correct those things. A friend called me a few weeks ago and he was like, "Nah, which means that they didn't tell me this thing well." And then I was like, "How do you mean?" And he was like, "Yo, bro, man, nothing is working in this country. There's no jobs and this and that, rejections that all the applications he's been sending, he has been receiving, unfortunately." And I smiled. Him that, "Are you tired?" He was like, "Yo, bro, this is not what I imagined." And he was like, "Bro, I heard there are jobs." Then I smiled and told him, "Were you expecting that a job would be waiting for you immediately you arrive?" And I told him, "Wait, this is one of the few realities that people fail to get in check. The fact that you're moving to a new country does not mean that instantly things will start falling in place for you. There are some sacrifices, some sweat and pains that you have to go through. It may not be that you have to really suffer, but the process of learning and unlearning a few things could be the price that you need to pay. But one thing you need to know is that money is not plucked on trees, and you need to limit your expectation. There's this illusion that once you travel to another country, that money starts pouring into your pocket. That as soon as you arrive, success will be given to you on a platter. Of course, there are success stories, but what people don't see is the blood, the sweat, and the struggles that goes behind these stories. The reality is, success abroad is not instant. And if you're someone with instant gratification that cannot hold this, and you're so full of excitement and you fail to see the struggles that you will face, I want to remind you today that there are greater battles ahead that you need to prepare your mind for right now. You might find yourself taking odd jobs, learning a new skill, or even starting from scratch. Abroad will test your patience and your endurance. It's not immediately you arrive that things will start falling into place. There could be a few rejections from application because the market is competitive. There is no room for instant gratification. And if that is what you're used to, I'm afraid you may feel disappointed. See me as that person coming from the future where you will be going and coming to tell you right now that you need to brace yourself for what is to come. So, once you're willing to play the long game, to put in the work with no immediate reward, do not move abroad. The number 2 on my list will be lack of self-mastery. If you cannot be on your own, you cannot master the act of silence, then there is a lot that you need to do. Because one of the first things that will hit you when you move abroad is loneliness. It will hit you so bad that if you're not careful, you may fall into depression and start questioning your decisions. So, if you're someone that cannot handle loneliness, if you're someone that you need people around you constantly to feel okay, then you need to start adjusting yourself and what makes you feel good, because abroad is lonely. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that to build your emotional strength that you need to hold yourself together when no one is around to hold you. There are days when the phone will not ring, when no one will check up on you, where you sit in a room and the silence is so loud. You haven't learned to depend on yourself, to manage by yourself, to find peace in your own company. Do not come abroad yet. Because out here, people are busy, people are living their lives and minding their own business. So if you cannot manage your own business properly without interfering or mingling into other people's business, it will be very tough. The scariest part is that no one is watching to see if you're falling apart. You have to hold yourself together. You have to learn to be your Alpha and your Omega after God. because after God, it's just you. You have to learn to hold yourself together. That is the power of self-mastery. You see friends seeing each other maybe once in 2 months or once in 3 months. It's not that they are having issues with each other, but everyone is minding their own business and living their life. But that does not mean that they do not care about you or are not friends with you. It's just that they also have their own business that they also need to attend to. So you need to learn the art of self-mastery. The third one I would like to share with you would be emotional fragility. This reminds me of a colleague of mine. He was very lucky enough that when he arrived a few months into the country, he immediately got an employment. That is why I said earlier that they are success stories, but you need to actually face the reality that your plans may not go according to how you want it, but it does not mean that it's not possible. So as I was saying about my story, this colleague of mine, he just arrived and was lucky enough to get a job. And during the review, they called him into a meeting to have a feedback check with him. And after the feedback, he came out and started telling me that they told him he needs to improve, and he started crying. Then I asked him why he was crying. He said he's putting so much effort and it looks like they are not seeing his efforts. Why are they telling him that he needs to do better? Then I just encouraged him and smiled. It's not that they are criticizing what you do, it's just that they are telling you that you have room for improvement, and that is one thing. Emotional fragility, if you cannot take feedback, if you cannot take criticisms, it's not always going to be negative criticisms, but also you have to be open-minded that negative criticisms may also come and you have to chest it. So if you're someone who cannot take criticism, that is, criticisms get to you, rejections get to you, you still take everything personally, then you have a lot to work on, because not everyone will like you, not everyone will smile at you. I remember one of the stories that usually come from people that just arrive would be that they always complain about the situation either in the buses or in the marketplace. Remember what I mentioned in my culture shock video? If you've not seen the video, you can check it out. One of the things that people always complain about, people that just arrive, would be that why are these people not smiling? Why are they always frowning and all of that? Probably what they are expecting will be that everyone will smile at them and give them a wave, but that is not how it is. It's not that they have a problem with you or you being who you are, but the thing is that everyone is just minding their business and no one gives a damn about you. So if you're someone that is trying to people's appraisal to make you feel good, then you need to work on yourself before you decide to travel abroad, because if you do not do that now, it may break you when you arrive and you may fall into depression. And another thing is that you need to make sure that you're ready to hear as much no as possible. You need to prepare your emotional balance to take as much rejections as much as you can, because you will hear no more than you've ever heard it. You will feel invisible, like you don't belong. And if every challenge feels like an attack to you, then you need to build an emotional armor. You will crumble. You need to learn how to be rejected with grace, how to take a loss and still wake up the next day with purpose, how to separate your worth from the outcome, because the outcome may make you question your worth. So you need to build an emotional armor, because abroad will not cuddle you. It will try to crumble you. If you're easily offended, easily shaken, easily discouraged, you need to check yourself. Number 4 will be financial literacy. If you still live like money has no plan, you spend before you think, you don't know how to manage the little that you have, then you need to take a break. You need to take a moment and reflect. Don't go abroad with that attitude. Every dollar counts. Your bills, your rent, your expenses. No uncle or auntie to call for a quick loan. You are solely responsible for your survival. So if you still do not know how to spend accountably, you realize that every inflow of funds that comes to you go out without accountability, and then in the next thing you're waiting for the next paycheck. You need to be accountable for your own expenses responsibly. If you haven't learned to budget, save and invest, you need to start now. Abroad will humble you financially. There is no urgent 2K or urgent 1K coming from anybody, because everyone is having strict accounts of their own expenses and have specific things that they want to do with their own expenses. And nobody tells you this, that one of the reasons why people fail out here is not because of joblessness or issues with migration. It is because they fail to manage their finances responsibly. Issues will come, challenges will come, and most of them, when it comes to you, it is coming for your finance. So if you do not have enough for those days of trouble, then there may be real trouble. So don't wait till you are in the storm before you learn how to swim. Start now to build financial discipline before you make that big move. The thing I would like to share with you today before I wrap up with this video will be lack of vision. People always talk about long-term plans and short-term plans. Even governments, private organizations and companies have what they call long-term goal and short-term goal. You as an individual, you also need to have this. Before you make that move, have something you can relate to. Something like your first year plan, your 2 years plan, your 3 years plan, what you want to achieve within this specified period of time, to help you to carve a direction. It will help you to carve a niche. I would advise that if you're someone that wants to make a move for studies, make one of your priority to be that in the next 2 years or 3 to 4 years of your education, if you are doing a master's or bachelor's, whichever one, make your priority to see that you graduate no matter how difficult it is. This will help you to create a vision on how to survive in the long time. Because if you can complete your primary purpose, it gives you the chance to use that success to re-strategize and plan the next future. So if you don't know what you're doing, you just want to leave a place because of frustration, don't do it. Take time to plan. I remember a friend of mine said something. He said, do not let your obsession of living where you are blind you from seeing the opportunities around you. Look into the successes around you and use it to build a long-term plan. You need to have an eagle eye. And one of the greatest mistakes that you make is to make abroad the goal. That is not the goal. You need to make it a means to a goal. Because the moment you make abroad the goal, you've missed the point. So you should have plans that you put abroad as a stepping stone to those plans. Do not make it the ultimate goal, but make it a stepping stone to a goal that you would like to achieve. Abroad isn't a destination, it's an environment. It's the space, the battlefield where you become that which you're meant to be. But if you land without direction, you will wander around cluelessly. You will follow trends. You will copy others. You will waste years chasing the shadows. There are lots of distractions because it's a crazy place. In the right sense, I mean. So you need to stay focused. There have been sad stories of people that make this big move without a plan, without a clue. And this is the reason why I'm motivated to share this 5th point, because I've seen things that breaks my heart as a person. And I imagine the things that these people or their close relations will feel about these sad situations. You see people move abroad without goals, without plans, and then they crumble. You've seen stories about people being abroad for years and there is nothing to show for it except I just arrived. I was seeing a video online some days ago I think on Instagram, of a man that they said has been abroad for like 30 years. And there were lots of pity comments. There were a lot of pity statements in the comments. But the thing is that is the only thing that you will get from people. Pity. But the major thing is that, did you do your part to carve that part for yourself? Because one popular guy on Instagram will always say that Adaino is the last statement of a fool, or something like that. But you know what I mean. So to avoid those statements of Adaino in the last part, you need to have a clear goal. You need to have a vision of what you want to do. Even if you do not have like a clear vision, talk to somebody, have an intimate conversation with people. It can help you to create an idea of a goal for yourself. Because sometimes I know it can be very difficult if you're in a position where you're not used to planning things for yourself. So it could be very challenging. So you need to, if possible, ask people, talk to people, and let them help you see ideas and areas where you can actually help yourself to fashion out a plan. Because the worst thing that will happen is you saying, "I die no" in the end. So you need to create a why. What's your why? Like, what's your why? Why do you want to live? Like I mentioned, do not make it a destination. Have a plan in front of it. What's your why? Have a very solid purpose. Let it has a vision that can justify your move. Because when the storms comes, and they will come, the only thing that will keep you grounded is a clear vision. I remember when I was writing my thesis and I was really getting frustrated by my supervisor because of constant corrections and the rest like that. And I got advice from different people. Some was like I should even quit school since I already have a job. I mean, I can just drop out of school. What's the point of completing the school? What's the point of completing the degree if it's stressing you out? You know, deep down there's this selfish and devilish thought inside. I'm like, yeah, it's true, I can do that. I can just drop out of school, you know. But my vision was to finish. I know I wanted this. The vision that I had, I see myself with that certificate, with that gown, that I want to beat my chest and say that I overcome the challenges of this institution. Because I think I was the only black person in my class. Yeah, I was the only black person in my class. So you can imagine what that means. But that's when I arrived that year, a lot of visa denial actually happened, and very few of us, you know, got the visa before they closed down VFS and changed their policy. So it was just me in my class as the black person. So you can imagine the challenge that comes with that. So even if I miss class a day, they know that that black boy is not in class today, you know. So if I had quit, imagine the reputational damage that I will not only put on myself, but also probably the black community or something. So all of this was my thoughts, and that was how I was able to overcome that devilish and selfish thought inside of me that says that I should quit because of the frustration. So that is why I say that you need to have a vision, you need to have a goal, because in the end they will come, the trials will come, the storm will come. And the only thing that will keep you is your strong will, your vision. Only a person with vision that will fight through the storm, because they know they have a destination. But if there's no destination and the wind comes, you fall, you crumble, because you don't even have a purpose yet. Because you don't even have a purpose. So define your why and make sure it's not a selfish why. So until you are able to do all of this, I'll say please, don't go abroad. Look within yourself for these 5 things that I've mentioned and try to correct them. Try to see that you can actually tick these 5 boxes and say yes, that no, this is not something that relates to you anymore, that you have changed and become a better person. But the thing is that you also need to be sincere with yourself, because in the long run, if you deceive yourself, the consequences will always be the same. So have a long vision, have a goal. I hope this video helps you today to set a clear path for yourself and what you want for yourself in the future. And if you enjoyed this video, you can also check out other videos on my channel to help you to fashion out a way for yourself in this new year. It's already April. The first quarter is gone. This is the second quarter. So if you think that there is time, know that time is not waiting for you. I am Kingsley Okorie, and I'll see you again in my next video. Please do not forget to click the subscribe button, and see you in my next video. Peace.